Listeners, there are 2 things you must do before listening to this episode of Colony Drop. Isaac, what is thing number 1?
Listeners, before you listen to this podcast any further, or even continue past this next minute, hit pause and go watch 00, Awakening of the Trailblazer. Gundam 00, Awakening of the Trailblazer. That's the only way you'll understand this podcast. That's the only way you'll appreciate it. So do yourself a favor and go see this incredible Gundam film.
And thing number 2 is going to require your imagination. Due to unavoidable circumstances that delayed this episode, we're going to need you to sit back, relax, clear your mind, and imagine that today is April 1st. We hope you'll understand. After all, that's what Setsuna would want.
Hey everybody, welcome back to Colony Drop, your favorite Gundam podcast. My name is Isaac.
And my name is Brian, and this is a podcast where we talk about anything and everything related to the Mobile Suit Gundam franchise, from the anime to the music to the movies to the models to the OVAs, to the clothes, to the food, to the aliens, Isaac, to the aliens.
To the aliens, Brian, and to the acclaimed Oscar-nominated, Academy Award-nominated hit films, including the one we're talking about today, which was nominated, let me check my notes, for Best Foreign Film 2010 and Best Animated Film 2010 at the Academy Awards.
Oh my
Isn't
God.
that right, Brian?
You could only be talking about Mobile Suit Gundam 00, the movie Awakening of the Trailblazer, am I right?
I am right, Brian. I mean, well, you're right. But the Trailblazer awoke, didn't it, Brian?
It awoke something in me, I'll tell you that, Isaac. I mean, this film is so heralded and vaunted in the Gundam fandom. I mean, there's almost so much to say that there's so little to say, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, many a times in 2010, I remember gathering my family around and we'd decide what movie we want to see, and we'd all say, let's watch Gundam 00, the movie.
Was it a repeat viewing at family movie night around the couch?
Oh, every weekend.
Yeah, I knew it.
Couldn't get enough of it.
Yeah, you know,
The acting.
back in those days when Blockbuster was still around, it was always rented out at
Blockbuster.
Blockbuster. It was so popular in my town that it was just, the case was worn down. It was just never there.
Yeah, Hollywood Video back in the day. Just, you walk in there, you say 00, and say, nah, it's all taken. Back ordered.
They turned you away before you even got in the store.
Such a tragedy. But you know what's not a tragedy? The incredible quality, detail, the intricate plot, and the lore that this movie creates. It's just incredible.
It is indeed incredible. I think its reputation precedes itself. As you said, came out in September 2010 in Japan, October 2010 in the US at some sort of festival, if I recall, and then in 2011 for real in the US on DVD.
Sure.
I'm not really sure where you can watch it today. I believe you can watch it on Crunchyroll, but maybe sub only. You can obviously buy the Blu-ray, and I believe it comes up and down on Gundam Info on their official YouTube channel.
That's all true, Brian, but you could also find it in the the shadowy, filth-covered alleyways and the back doors of the the internet. We'll leave it at that.
Yeah, Isaac has his Crossbone Vanguard connections, so.
Right next to Diagon Alley. Yeah.
Here's the logline, Isaac. Ready for this?
Let's do it.
2314 AD. The new government of the Earth Sphere Federation is carrying out a program of peaceful reconciliation and preparing for the appearance of the innovators who will lead the human race into a new era. But the return of a derelict Jupiter exploration ship marks the beginning of an unprecedented crisis. What are the alien entities known as extraterrestrial living metal shapeshifters? What do they want? And will Setsuna F. Seiei and his fellow Gundam Meisters be able to answer these questions before humanity is wiped out?
Yeah, will they be able to answer those questions?
Before we even get into anything, Isaac, we have to say, right, the ELSs, or the ELSs, as they're called, they're the biggest use of aliens in Gundam ever. They're the full-on star of the movie.
They sure are. They take center stage, and let me say, what a stroke of artistic genius it was to make them called the ELSs, even though we all know acronyms really work with the letter of each word, so they should probably be called ELMS. But, in Gundam, they always figure out how to do things better. And in this case, 3 letters in an acronym, so much better than 4.
Especially Elms is so much easier to pronounce than Elses. I'm glad they went with Elses. So,
right.
If you're a real fan, you got to struggle through pronouncing Elses for an hour and 45 minutes.
God forbid they should give it a name like a plant, even though these ELSs seem to attach and grow on virtually everything.
We would be remiss to not name the other aliens in Gundam because they are very few and far between. The only other ones I'm aware of are we have Evidence 1 from Seed, which was the space whale skeleton, one of our favorites probably.
Wanda the Whale.
Angel Call from Crossbone Dust, which we have not read, but we'll get there. But that's more of like an organism, a small cellular type thing rather than a full-on alien threat.
An amoeba from space.
More like Venom, not as cool.
Oh, no. That's not good.
Not the Tom Hardy version, the other one. And then we also have those like furry people from Eldora in Build Divers Re-Rise. I don't think we've really watched that either, but I believe there's a whole race of that. But yeah, Build Divers and Build series kind of their own thing. I don't really put that up on the same mantle. So anyway, the point is, the Elses, Isaac, the Elms, the Elses, the ELSs, whatever you want to call them, they're our movie, right? This is the alien movie. So what did you think, Isaac? We'll just take turns trading off our best of lists. Up front, I'll be honest with you listeners, this might be Isaac and I's one of our top 5 movies of all time, right? It's like,
absolutely.
It's like, Shawshank Redemption, The Departed, Gundam 00, Awakening of the Trailblazer for me.
This blows Last Blitz of Zeon out of the water. Let me just say that I wrote like a play-by-play of all the things I liked about this movie while it was happening. It opens with a movie within a movie.
Oh, yeah.
I thought that was brilliant. And a nice little Axis cameo.
Yep.
It's a blink and you'll miss it moment. Of course, it opens with a Gundam princess. Oh, we're always so happy to see the Gundam princess, aren't we? She wants to meet with the workers and their families. It was great. Yeah. A great way to start. What's great, too, is I love how in this movie, nothing has advanced for the Azadistanis people. They were destitute on Earth, and now in space, they're pretty much slaves to this corporation.
It's funny you bring that up because one of my favorite parts of the film was that they hung on to the Princess Marina plot, the Princess of Azadistan. Even though that plot hadn't mattered since season 1, I'm really glad that they gave all the fan fiction writers out there, all those Setsuna X, Marina shippers, they gave them closure by having Living Metal Setsuna hook up with a 75-year-old Marina at the end. And I didn't have that on my Bingo 00 card, but I ship it, and I'm happy for everyone else whose dreams came true when his little metal tendrils met her old wrinkly skin, and that's all the fandom wanted. That was the ending I wanted for this franchise.
Well, I'd be rock hard, or you could be steel firm. I like how the princess, despite having gone through a coup and multiple attempts on her life, she still has minimal security to the point where these corporate guys kind of try to take her out in a fake attack. And true to Gundam, they present the best opportunity for Gundam to show up and save her by the company using the flawless strategy of sending out 3 mobile suits to take out 1 defenseless shuttle.
Yeah, I mean, they would have just been better off just shooting her, right?
Yeah, oh god, do you really need 3 mobile suits for 1 shuttle?
No, you need 1 average size male of average strength to probably subdue her.
Yeah. Oh god, every shuttle we see in Gundam just blown out of the sky.
It reflects the peace in the world that she has helped bring about, Isaac. I can't believe you didn't catch on to that high theme.
Apparently not, Brian, because speaking of peace in the world, Setsuna in this movie is sort of the anti-Kira, because he kills as many enemies as possible.
Yeah.
None of the little corporate goons that went out to attack the princess's shuttle,
right?
None of them made it. He killed them to the last man. Whereas Kira Yamato, Jesus, our favorite Gundam pilot and the coordinator, he would have shot off the limbs or shot off the head and then flown away.
Yeah, where would the head be? Where do you think Kira would shoot the Elses?
Man.
The tips of the tendrils?
Well, yeah, that's the thing, too, because, when you go to the Elses, they have so many multiple forms, right? There's kind of the ground forms that are almost anything. But then in space, they had, a capital ship form, a fighter form, and then, the mothership thing that was really weird. Wow. What brilliant writing, Brian.
Oh, it was brilliant. I especially liked how they portrayed the military and the scientists in the film, Isaac, because it really gave me hope for the future. It demonstrated that even if humans are so stubborn to stick to our stupid plans that clearly don't work, that we still all have a chance as long as there are a few smart scientists around to save the world. And I highlighted some examples here. So there's some quotes from the Earth Sphere Federation's top advisors during the crisis as they watch the Elsas emerge from Jupiter's giant spot and head directly towards Earth, okay? One of the quotes, one guy said, "They aren't aliens, they are living metal shapeshifters." And then another guy said, "There is no evidence that they are coming to Earth," as he's watching them emerge from Jupiter and make a beeline toward Earth. Then, Isaac, they line up their entire military in organized rows that when viewed from above looked like an arrow pointing at Earth. Did you notice? And they're trying to hide Earth, and they literally lined up in an arrow that said, "Go this way." And then we made the first move by provoking the aliens, who absorbed metal, by shooting all of our mobile suits and cruisers at them, which probably constituted the majority of all metal ever refined by the human race, all at once. And our plan was basically shoot them harder and more often. It was the most American thing I've ever seen, Isaac. Thank Aeolia for Ian and Linda Vashti pulling an all-nighter on that 00 Quanta, because, without them, we'd been screwed. Maybe Ian and Linda can also figure out a way to keep Earth from warming more than 2 degrees Celsius. We need to get them on the phone.
Flawless analysis, Brian, of the flawed military strategy the humans used.
Top advisors, Isaac. They were in the room with the president.
I don't know what to say, except that clearly an arrow is a human shape. So they could be forgiven for thinking, for aliens, this is the symbol for move away from Earth.
Oh, that's fair. Maybe in their culture. I'm just being closed-minded. It means exactly. It means go the other way.
You don't have the mind of a living metal shapeshifter. You have a solid mind that doesn't shapeshift at all.
But yeah, it filled me with hope, Isaac, because if those two scientists can do it, maybe there's hope for us after all.
Well, I wish space was filled with the blinding, searing power of multiple memento moris, which might have helped, but they were almost all destroyed in season 2.
Yeah, if they had just stopped aiming them at Earth for once and aimed them outward, maybe they could have helped.
Just mass produce those things, put them in space, and point them at the enemy. It would have worked.
I like it.
But here we are.
But see, Isaac, they gave us something different, and that's what makes this movie special.
They zigged when they should have zagged.
Yeah. The director of this movie is basically Muhammad Ali. He's floating like a butterfly and stinging like a bee.
Yeah, well, like a boxer like Muhammad Ali, he's always adapting. And I have to say that he likes to pull a lot of twists, hit us with his right when he should have thrown the left. And by that I mean how they called an asteroid with a gold ring around it a deep space ship. Brilliant writing. So flawless. Goodness. Hey. Who knew an asteroid with a gold ring around it would be a ship?
It's a vessel. It looks like a big Saturn-like thing.
Well, speaking of big, Brian, I'm sure you had a big smile on your face when you saw General Monaghan come back with her new husband, Colasauer.
Colasauer. He was out in full force in this film, Isaac. He made me so happy up until I thought he was dead, and then he didn't die.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. What did you feel about the identical clones that feed Data?
Oh, like Descartes Shaman? He was interesting. I thought it was great that they gave us another character that has one of the most ridiculous names in Gundam. That was really good at continuing that tradition. He was like the Char that never was.
Yeah.
They built him up, and then he went out in this fancy-looking gold mobile armor thing that reminded me of Season 1, and it just didn't work out for him, I guess.
Yeah. I also think it's interesting how the Azadistanis left Earth to go to space and became slaves. And this guy was already in space. And he was pretty much a slave because he's like hooked up to the computer. He's got like that weird collar thing. And yeah, he's really just there to pilot and do whatever they say. When he's not piloting, he's looking at monitors.
Maybe those innovators like him need their own version of innovators to lead them out of slavery.
Yes, what would it be called, Brian? Not coordinators, not innovates.
Yeah. Maybe like
innoneers.
Inventors.
Innoventors, I like it. Oh, they will build and invent a new future. I can see Aeolia Schenberg saying it right now in his ridiculous little window side room. Oh, well, one thing I noticed that was interesting also was how Shaman's first suit that he takes out is actually kind of a mobile armor.
Yes.
It's very Neue Zeal.
Yeah, very much.
So, good little callback, good little flashback, but also in a way, tech regressing. Sort of, not really moving on with mobile suits, but going back to mobile armors. I thought that was a little bit of an interesting situation there.
I thought it was one of the more interesting designs we got out of the show, and it's interesting that you bring up the mobile suits because I thought the mobile suits in this show were very different than Descartes' mobile armor. I thought Descartes' mobile armor was like new and flashy and exciting, and it looked cool.
Yeah.
And to your point, it gave you some Noiseel vibes, it gave you some Xeon vibes. And for me, Isaac, I don't know about you, but I like buying the same things over and over. I like same but different. And these new mobile suits are that. They basically look like Disney made an animated remake of one of its live action remakes. And so as long as they just keep giving me the same thing of something I've already bought so I can buy it again, I'm all on board. That was way better than Descartes' Mobile Armor for me. Give me that animated remake of the live action remake again.
A remake of a remake, Brian. Yeah. What did you feel when you saw the threat that self-driving cars present in this world?
Oh my God, Isaac, that was my favorite battle of the movie. It's Allelujah and Marie versus the magic trash trucks. I mean, holy crap. I mean,
ironically, self-driving cars have been known to kill people.
Who's driving those, Elon?
Whatever Skynet-like intelligence is inside these self-driving cars apparently routinely runs people over and also causes accidents. So, not good.
It's a really good thing that Ellises are bad drivers. Otherwise, there wouldn't have been much left of them, before Lyle showed up, I guess, to rescue him. And it really opened my eyes, Isaac. We need less mobile suit combat in Gundam and more personnel versus transportation vehicle combat. I thought it was a riveting and brave decision.
Yeah, nothing says quality anime like the characters having to dive out of the way of an oncoming car.
Yeah, and then suddenly getting the ability to jump like 15 feet in the air over fences and stuff. Yeah, it was great.
Yeah. Very Death Note in some ways, though. Just the whole thing with like the civilian world being a threat, I thought.
Yeah.
It was very interesting because why not borrow ideas from a much more successful anime?
Isaac, I wish someone would have wrote the name of this movie in the Death Note to see what would happen.
The movie would have gone back to its house and hung itself from the ceiling. Would have jumped into the tub with the toaster.
Isaac, this is something that I'm not sure you had as much joy out of this film as I did, because as a dad, I'm always sleep deprived. And for me, this movie was a godsend because I had to watch this movie over 3 sittings because I fell asleep about every 45 minutes. And some of you might think that's a sign of a bad film, but not me. I need that sleep, but I also need my Gundam. And so with this movie, I'm not only getting a high budget, maybe too high of a budget Gundam film, but also a sleep aid. And the third time, I was like, that's when I realized it. Just like Setsuna understands the Elses, this movie understands me.
It's funny you mentioned that, Brian, because I was reading the wiki on the history of this movie, and the Awakening of the Trailblazer wasn't actually the original name of the movie. It was actually Gundam Melatonin. So something that I always thought was a new level of grotesque body horror for Gundam was the door handle that you grab, and then metal crystals go into your hand.
Oh, yes. Oh, yeah, that's vile.
Yeah, but the movie itself, though, is essentially unique in its own because it might be the only Gundam mystery movie to search for what the hell is going on with the living metal and the ELSs. It's very much a page turner. And when you're done with the final page, you wish you never turned the first page.
Well, I'm so glad that in the explanation scene then there was no dialogue. It was just silent, and we got to see the Elses evolve and come over here. Which I guess that's all you need. That's a brave decision. I wish that would have been like more of the movie.
Yeah. Speaking of more in the movie, excellent writing decision to have these beings capable of traveling across the stars, but on Earth they need to use vehicles to try to run people over.
I was confused how some of them got there so quickly, like the ones in the cars. And then the other one took forever to get there, like the big one. Shouldn't the big one get there faster? I don't know.
Speaking of faster, did you enjoy the WWE throwback where not Ribbons Allmark is back from the dead?
Oh, yeah.
And Setsuna throws a chair at his chest WWE style.
Yeah, I love that. That just gives us more ammo, Isaac. Like, where's my Gundam wrestling?
Yeah. It was very Captain America, the way it was thrown.
With the shield, yeah.
Like, these beings can fly across the stars and, like, go through Jupiter, but they can't take a metal chair to the chest.
By God, it's a steel chair. Did you notice also, Isaac, that the film totally exposes Katagiri as a character? He finally got his comeuppance. In the show, we follow 2 seasons of him desperately wanting Sumeragi / Cujo, whatever you want to call her. But in this movie, he's got a new little girl following him named Mina, I believe was her name. And he can't handle Mina's advances, but she's like a fraction of the woman that Sumeragi is, both in like personality and like assets. So maybe,
of course,
maybe Katagiri can handle like a damaged, drunken Sumeragi who lives in his house and like can't get it together. But the moment Mina wants to twerk in his general direction, Billy's like too scared to move. His dating profile should read "Seeking Addled Women Only," because this guy is he's a fraud. He had no chance with Sumeragi if he can't handle Mina. That's all I'm saying.
He might as well go for like this living metal shapeshifter clone.
There you go. He needs an Elsa's version of Sumeragi. That's who he's gonna be able to handle. He's gonna cower in fear when she backs that up.
Speaking of back up. I'm sure, like many people, you've seen this film that came out back in the day, T2, Terminator,
yes,
Judgment Day. Do you feel like the creators of this movie had seen many scenes with T-1000, the liquid metal Terminator, and decided to have that influence the ELSs?
I think the creators of this movie probably owned only 5 movies, and they probably owned 2 copies of that one. So they may have watched that movie more times than any other movie.
Yeah, because not only is there living metal in that movie, there's also a big giant truck chasing scene.
Oh,
actually,
you're right.
2 of them.
You're right, yeah.
2 of them.
Yeah.
One in the day, one at night. And people have to flee from their lives.
And that chair shot that Setsuna threw at Ribbons, that had the force of a shotgun, just like the shotgun that, Arnold used in T2.
Indeed. And it knocked down the living metal opponent. It's brilliant. Brilliant. Okay. Let's see. What else do I have here in my notes? Hallelujah showing up in the most violent of situations. Excellent. Good to see that he's still in that side of that skull and he can just summon himself.
Yeah, I thought we did away with Hallelujah, but here he was. He just kind of came out when you needed him, I guess. Do you think he comes out in other situations, Isaac?
Like food's burning in the kitchen and he like runs over there to put it out.
Anytime what's her name wants a little more aggression, you think Hallelujah comes out?
Oh boy. Hopefully he shows up beforehand and he's like understood that he might show up rather than mid ambush.
I'll adapt the phrase "Allelujah in the streets, Hallelujah in the sheets."
Yeah, that's pretty good. All the women want Hallelujah in the sheets.
Allelujah just kind of whines, so.
Yeah. This movie also showed us something that's very rare in Gundam, very special too, and that's the sticky grenade. Nothing like a sticky grenade, Brian. Very Halo.
Yeah, I mean, they're so useful. You can use them in pretty much any tactical situation.
Indeed.
See, when I'm getting attacked by extraterrestrial living metal shapeshifters, sticky grenades are the first thing that my mind goes to.
Absolutely. And seeing this movie, even, at this point in the plot, like 3/4 of the way through, I'm so happy this series got a second season, a movie, whereas Iron-Blooded Orphans got neither. Well, Iron-Blooded Orphans got a second season, but they didn't get a movie.
Yeah, it didn't get a high-budget movie. And you know what? That just puts Iron-Blooded Orphans in its place. Who wants lore about AI, mobile armors, tearing apart humanity 300 years in the past with undeveloped lore that has great potential when you can just have the T-1000 space version coming from Jupiter?
And speaking of Jupiter, Brian, I'm sure as a man who appreciates space and the solar system and the space program, you've seen the movie 2001.
I have not.
Oh my God. Well, in that movie, Jupiter, or was it Neptune? No, I'm pretty sure it was Jupiter, gets turned into like a little singularity by the monoliths. And of course, this movie has a black hole opening in Jupiter or a wormhole, and then out comes the ELS fleet. So clearly they saw the movie and then later went on in life to create Gundam 00. Awakening of the Trailblazer.
Oh, that's interesting. So was it a black hole? I just assumed that they were always waiting there.
Always waiting?
Yeah, like so they just kind
of
like they had just kind of woken up, they had been, I don't know, disturbed or something.
So they had their own little Shenberg plan as far as, look, we have to wait till they're ready for the dialogues to come.
Could be. Could be.
It's going to be on this specific day, on this specific year, when we reveal ourselves, and then they're ready to talk. And by talk, I mean having a massive fleet battle that kills hundreds of thousands of their forces.
They're finally alive. Let's go kill them.
Some body horror in this film, too, also, like being swallowed and turned into silver inside of a ship.
Very much, very much. I'm actually very curious. If you're a Setsuna fan, I mean, I thought it was the best ending ever, but do you like this ending for your guy? Like, is this what you wanted out of Setsuna? Like, you wanted him to become like a metal dude?
He wanted to become one of the trainers in Smash Brothers.
Yeah.
That's like made out of living metal and hard to defeat.
Yeah, he's basically the metal guy from Smash Bros, but like also part of the Borg.
Yeah, but worse.
Yeah. Also, speaking of that, Isaac, okay, two things about Graham. One, I was happy to see that Graham Aker ditched the Mr. Bushido gimmick in this movie. We're all agreeing to pretend that never happened, right?
I guess so, yeah, especially him.
Yeah, the movie. I think the movie agrees too, because they didn't even mention it, and he went back to piloting the flag. And that's one kid I would buy from this show, Isaac, is his flag in this one, but they actually don't sell it in 1/100 scale. Of course they don't. But did you know that if you just watch the movie, Graham dies? He sacrifices himself to open up the Elsa's shell to let Setsuna in the Quanta. But according to the sequel, Mobile Suit Gundam 00 Festival 10 Revision, which is a live drama from 2018, Isaac, the Elsas saved his life after Setsuna initiated the dialogue. Graham was like floating there, and Setsuna asked him, hey, Graham, can you protect the Earth while I'm gone? And then Graham merges with the Elsas like Setsuna. So he becomes like Setsuna. He becomes a metal dude, a metal Borg, and pilots like a repaired version of the 00. Or Exia, maybe. I forget which one. While Setsuna's gone for 75 years or however long he's gone. Crazy, right?
Wow. I mean, this raises the question of, clearly the ELS has resurrected everybody else whose death they'd caused.
Yeah, how many people did they resurrect? And it also gives me one of the things I love the most in Gundam, Isaac, is like when they build up one of your favorite characters and they give you that heart-wrenching death that makes it so memorable and gives it the teeth that death deserves, and then they immediately undo it in an off-screen side story, and you go right back to where you were when you started.
Of course. I can't wait for like the Nina Purpleton series.
It's poetry.
Or Paptimus's second career in Uranus.
I think Paptimus probably, he became a doctor specialized in pap smears, but...
He's just... He found his second calling. Speaking of second calling, this movie, I'm very glad it checks off that one part of the Gundam checklist that we always appreciate, and that's when people turn naked and speak to each other in an ethereal or a spiritual dimension, because you can only talk to yourself and to others, with pure openness when you're naked.
Oh, look, I was going to give it a B, Isaac, but then the naked scenes hit, and I went right up to A.
Oh.
That was the one component that it didn't have, and then it gave it to me all at once.
That's the passion.
Yeah.
When you see the nakedness.
Yeah.
That's the best scene.
That's when I knew. And and right when I watched it, I was thinking to myself, Isaac's watching this right now too and loving it just as much as I am.
Speaking of loving it just as much, what did you feel when the Federation was asking for volunteer technicians for the orbital elevators that power their civilization?
Well, I thought perhaps that the elevators might not be working very much longer after the current crisis.
We need every person in the armed forces in space. Any civilians will be left behind on Earth to manage whatever is left of the infrastructure during the invasion that will happen minutes or hours after the fleet's destroyed.
In the real world, we can't even get airplane mechanics to repair normal airplanes correctly. I'm not sure how civilians are going to repair the orbital elevator, but I bet they gave it their all, Isaac. You're just not understanding. It's like that scene, like in any New York movie where all the New Yorkers come together to solve a problem. That's what that scene was.
We just needed a New Yorker to say, you mess with one of us, you mess with all of us.
That's right. It was just too American for you, Isaac, to understand.
Throw a hot dog at Green Goblin.
They just packed up their toolbox in their garage and they went right to work working on that orbital elevator because all the bolts, they all just use, normal Phillips and normal screwdrivers, heads.
I bet they did. Okay. Did Colasauer explode while being ejected from his cockpit, or did he self-destruct but get launched out of his cockpit?
No, I thought he exploded and then got ejected out. I didn't think it was on purpose. I thought he was trying to go out, and then it got stopped and whatnot.
His wife made sure he got, the one great mobile suit, because, not only can it survive an explosion and then eject, but it actually has an ejection system in general.
Yeah. You don't see anyone else out there ejecting.
No, if only... That could be every mobile suit. I really like how this advanced life form, the only way of communicating is for it to copy.
Yeah.
Very intelligent.
I was hoping we would get robot Setsuna versus Setsuna.
Well, I would have done well with hybrid.
Yeah.
What we got was very odd. And speaking of odd, in the ELS flashback, which is pretty unique to not only introduce aliens, but have them get their own flashback. Did you think their world was going to be destroyed, or did it actually get destroyed before they launched their smaller planetoid?
The takeaway I had was that they launched basically as it was being destroyed, or very close.
I see. Okay.
But they're so advanced, do you think they could just stop whatever it is from destroying their planet?
I mean, they seemed pretty good at like launching into space, so I figured you don't really need to so much abandon some people on the planet as get more of your living metal shapeshifter populace onto more ships and go into space. It looks like you people can live anywhere.
Right. Yeah, if you were to take this a step farther in like high sci-fi fantasy, like what if there's another branch of Elses that arrive after this movie that don't like the Elses we have, and then it becomes and then you just like sidetrack all the human characters, and you just you just have a whole different show.
It'd be the first Gundam with no talking. It's just liquid metal doing stuff with liquid metal, and we don't really understand what's going on.
Yeah,
there's a montage.
Setsuna's still there for some reason, but yeah.
Speaking of Setsuna, what did you think of the flower at the end? Why a flower?
Well, wasn't that the flower that him and Marina liked?
I think you might be right. Was it their nation's flower? Something like that. Okay.
It was supposed to be a sign that, he's returned and things are the way they should be.
He waited too long because...
You think?
She's no longer in her prime.
I would say so. She's 75 years old. Like, why couldn't he drop her off some else metal so they could be together?
Yeah, well, maybe he's going to give her a bit of an injection. That'll pump some new life into her, Brian.
Yeah, he'll give her some liquid metal. Maybe.
The clock will go backwards. And Brian, in closing at the end of this movie, it ends with a quote that says, "Peace cannot be kept by force. It can only be achieved by understanding."
Yep.
Brian, is that true?
Well, I believe that we saw the pacifists in Gundam Wing arrive at the opposite conclusion, which is why they made the preventer force, right? So I'm getting a lot of conflicting messages here, Isaac. I'm not sure which Gundam to believe, but Gjallarhorn certainly believes that. That's why they keep all those Dainsleeves in reserve.
Yeah.
So on the one hand, I'm inclined to agree, but on the other hand, Gjallarhorn made a pretty good case for why that's not true, Isaac.
A Rust alien was elected, so that's all you need to know.
Yeah, and I would say the Elses didn't exactly cause peace by understanding. They were about to enforce peace through force, and they really weren't. If it wasn't for the Quanta, they wouldn't have been stopped.
I'd go further and say anyone the Elses killed that is not resurrected with Else technology will simply spawn a small, vengeful faction of humans that knew them, their family, their friends, that would want revenge at some point in the future. They'd be called, I don't know, not Innovades, not Innovators.
The Inavengers.
The Inavengers, there you go. The Downgraders, I don't know.
Downgraders.
Something like that.
The Devolvers.
They've sworn revenge against the ELSs for really needlessly murdering their friends and family in space.
Yeah, I would say, so maybe my opinion is going to be that quote is only true if you're the weaker faction in the war. Is that fair?
I need you to understand us.
Yeah.
So you don't
shoot me.
Control us.
Yeah. Oh, boy. Well, Isaac, are you ready to give your rating, or you got more?
I'm absolutely ready to give my rating, Brian.
Give it to me.
Well, this film had everything. It had love. It had war. It had mystery, intrigue, suspense, combat, Gundams, cool mobile armors, and lots of beams. So for that reason, I give this Academy Award-nominated film, this highly praised animated masterpiece, 5 out of 5 Haros.
I love it, Isaac. I would expect nothing less from this masterpiece.
Of course.
Yeah.
Everybody needs to see it.
I mean, if you don't own a copy, you should go buy one right now. Get the collector's edition.
Right.
And I have to echo that, Isaac. This film gives me everything I want. A buttload of characters I didn't know I didn't want. Spamming enough rainbow beam weapons at Space Terminators to make James Cameron cry. No strategy, no tension. Only explosions, slashing, and understanding. If this movie was a game, it would be an arcade shoot-'em-up. A shmup. I put in my quarter, my eyes glazed over from the beam spam, and then I die every time. I give it 13.5 out of 10 hard double O's. My only criticism is they should have brought back Sumeragi's twin GN drives from season 1.
I just got it, hard double O. Hard O-O's.
That's right.
Oh my god. If only Lock-On was here.
Yeah, then they could have undid that death too with the Else's technology.
They might as well. Say the else's were everywhere at once.
Just bring everybody back and have a tea party.
Well, listeners, why don't you let us know what you think of the greatest Gundam movie ever made, the anime masterpiece, Gundam 00 Awakening of the Trailblazer. If you haven't seen it, stop this podcast, go see it. Stop what you're doing.
That's right, listeners. And by the way, if you make any negative comments about the film, Gundam 00, the movie, Lullaby of the Trailblazer, I will delete them. So, with that, Isaac, take us away.
All right, listeners, before you go to sleep tonight, stand next to your bed, get on your knees, put your hands together, look up at the ceiling, and hail the ELSs.
Good night, everybody.
Is it Lullaby of the Trailblazer?
No.
Oh.
It's because I fell asleep so many times.
Of course. Okay. Well, I thought this was a situation where there might be two versions.
No.
Like you saw the dub. You saw the sub, which is called Lullaby, and then I saw the dub. I was like, the Gundam, I don't know what's going on over there, but they always... We got 0083. We got 0083 Afterglow of Xeon. We got 0083 Last Blitz of Xeon. It's like, just make up one name. This is horrible for your search engine optimization.
Right, yeah, I can't find anything for this damn franchise.
No. Lullaby of the Trailblazer. That'll be the musical version.
Oh,
Like
yeah.
how they released a musical of Wicked.
I love that.
We're gonna do Gundam 00 the musical.
Cancel all our plans.
Oh boy. Well. Are you an Azadistanis?
Leave a comment.
What do you think about your career in space?
If you need help, comment below.
Is it true there's no benefits? Well, listeners, we hope you enjoyed April Fools as much as we did, because we enjoyed it more than actual 00.
Oh, it's never too late for April Fools, people.
Oh my God, Brian, we did it. I don't know how. Well, painfully, and I guess sleepily for you.
I never have to watch that piece of media ever again in my life.
I guess we're doing the aside now, the tangent.
Oh no, I'm out at this point. I got nothing left.
Okay.
That's the joke. This is my final word on the matter.
It was not good. The only praise I could possibly say is it was animated okay. But that was it. Plot bad. I guess sound was good. The sound people never really mess up too bad.
There were a lot of explosions.
Yeah, I mean, it's a pity, too, that they have the opportunity for a movie, and we really see nothing new in terms of mobile suit designs.
Yeah.
One cool mobile armor, they were like, well, we have to put all of our designs into the ELSs, and then I'm surprised nobody kind of took them to the side and said, our company makes money off selling plastic, right? No one's going to buy the mothership of the ELSs,
There's also just not many models from this movie.
Yeah, I can see why. Which is a pity, because that cool mobile armor Shaman had is maybe the best design in the film.
That's probably true. Definitely most original, I feel.
Yeah. Sadly, it's on screen for far too briefly, and then it's gone.
Yeah. I like the flag, but, we had other versions of the flag, so it's not like that was revolutionary either.
Bringing out another flag is the equivalent of, like, every one-year war movie having a new Zaku.
Yeah.
This is the Zaku desert. This is the Zaku Arctic. This is the Zaku, asteroid.
Right.
It's like, well, it's really just the same suit. You have to sell more plastic with something we recognize.
Painted it a new color, put on some rocket launchers, and you called it a day.
There you go, Brian. And there you go, listeners, for the first ever Gundam 00 April Fool's episode stream podcast.
First ever and last ever.
Last ever? Can you imagine if we just every April Fool's we watched this?
I meant last ever. We're never doing a real review of this movie. This is never going to happen. This is it.
As of this podcast. Yeah.
If we reach episode 1000 and run out of things to talk about, then I will consider re-reviewing Gundam 00.
No, because what's great about that is, like, since we've rewatched the series and multiple movies and series so many times, we just do another rewatch. And we still can't keep up with the Gundam content because, like, we still have to catch up and, like, build Fighters Try and stuff, you know, and then all the anime. We're going to be doing this till we have gray hair, and then one of us is, on dialysis.
The Elses will be able to cure your dialysis, though. So
Oh, that's true. Yeah, just put the liquid metal into my kidneys.
yeah, hook me up, man. Plug me in.
Grab the doorknob and pull back the metal shards on your hand.
I am Gundam, just like Setsuna.
After that happens to her hand, like, she had to go to the ER, right? What do you tell them?
Yeah, I don't know. You tell them I want a new hand, or this one's broken.
The metal's all in your hand. I don't think her hand would work after that, right? It must have gone through like nerves and muscle.
Yeah, I don't. They didn't. They were light on the explanation there. That's alien magic. Yeah.
She was doing pretty well, though, for someone that grabbed a knob that turned into liquid metal that stabbed throughout her hand.
Yeah, she was still alive.
She kept her cool.
Maybe the Elses somehow reversed it afterwards and just said sorry.
Sorry about that. We only understand by mimicking, and by mimicking, I mean causing irreparable bodily harm.
Permanent disfigurement. I apologize. But now we understand each other, so it's okay.
By the way, we're going to kidnap one of your best pilots, and he'll come back in like 60 years. He's going to look the same.
Too bad for his love interest, though.
I don't know. She might appreciate a younger man, shall we say.
There you go.
Same age, different body.
Yeah. Oh, so much vigor. All right, Isaac, take us away.
All right, listeners, before you go to sleep tonight, stand next to your bed, get on your knees, put your hands together, look up at the ceiling, and hail the ELSs, extraterrestrial, living metal, shape-shifting, shapeshifters.
Good night, everybody.